So we're back here with another Get Going podcast. Today we have two guests, one coach and one client. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yes, thank you, Ethan.
Right.
My name is Daniel Tramontana, and this is a client of mine, recently turned A&B Bikini Pro, Linda Coleman.
Amazing.
Hi.
All right. Do you want to give us a bit of a background on both of your stories and kind of where you've come from today?
Sure. Well, myself, I have been in the industry for a little over 12 years. Been personal training for about 10 of those years. I have found a little bit of a niche with competing and preparing people for competitions after myself doing a competition early on, getting a little bit involved with the federation and some of the stuff at the back end in regards to workshops and all that sort of stuff early on led me into kind of changing up my learning and the path I was going on to direct it towards that. And then as the years went on, that even sort of funneled in a little more, became much more female specific. So I've just actually, I'm just on the cusp of launching my own business.
Yeah, amazing.
Which is going to centre around one-on-one coaching and hopefully involve some more workshops and seminars and that sort of thing that encourages people to not only get involved in competing, but do it for more than just a one show, or get into it for a bit of longevity to see if they can get into reaching the success of a state or national champion and ongoing and keeping it as something that they continue to do. So helping people introduce some longevity to a goal that generally is quite short-lived for a lot of people. It's it's a pretty commonly the bucket list goal, or
tick it off and then move on to something else.
So I've developed a bit of a passion for helping people achieve a physical condition that they never really thought they could.
Yeah.
And not necessarily the competitions, but that sport is almost a catalyst it's a catalyst to that goal, which is one of my passions. Just like as I said, like instilling belief in people and supporting them to achieve what they never thought they could in the first place.
Yeah, amazing. And how long have you guys been training together now? Like
3 years now.
3 years, probably at the same time. Obviously, a while. So, tell us a little bit about your journey with Dan.
I came to Dan after my very first A&B competition. I ended up going into that competition without a coach after having a bit of a messy prep. I came straight off the back of a weight loss journey into the bucket list competition.
Nice.
And I guess post-comp was a little bit lost, didn't really know where to go, what to do, and Dan came highly recommended, and I thought, we'll go have a chat, see what happens, and I might do one more competition, maybe we'll do another one. And now, here we are, 3 years down the track.
It's crazy. So how many comps have you end up doing?
Well, if you count the weekend just been as 2 shows, number 11 was Miss Fitness Australia and number 12 was Miss Fitness Australia Pro Show.
How do you
first pro show, pro debut.
It's crazy. How do you go coming off the back of each show? Because, I've had clients that have come off a show and then they complete bounce back, right? And they put on a ton of weight. So what have been your fail-safe kind of been to keep up that body composition?
Well, each competition, it gets better and better. So it's a bit of a learning curve, I think. You come out of your first competition. I don't think I know anyone who hasn't sort of rebounded after their first competition. And it scares a lot of people off competing ever again, I think. But once you get past that, you realise where you went wrong. You sort of put those plans in place before competition to come out of it. I think that's probably the key, having that idea before.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, which is evident that you've now come to understand that.
But clearly works, yeah.
Yeah. One of my core beliefs around a successful competition is making sure that the athlete or the client or yourself has a really broad understanding of not only the impact on you physically, but the impact on your lifestyle and your career, your day to day, the people around you, all that sort of stuff. So not that you can really tell someone truly how that's going to be, but just give them paint sort of the picture as best you can. Because it does affect you physically. Of course, you've got a body composition change to quite in some cases an extreme level or quite a challenging level or a competitive level. So you've got to understand the ramifications of that and that you do need to come back from that. But it's not only that, you almost go into a bit of a pressure cooker for anywhere between 20 and 12 weeks for some people. And because you're in that sort of situation or for so long, you almost forget how it was.
Yeah, reality.
It doesn't seem like a very long time for anyone looking in, but really, after about 3 weeks, you've embedded new habits. You've changed things in your life that you were doing habitually. Other people have been massively affected. You might not even realise any of that. So that's sort of what you're going to have to contend with the day after you step off the stage, and that's a massive thing because a lot of the people have almost just put things on their relationship with you on hiatus, and they're just ready to go straight back into how it was, because they don't really understand what you have to go through, nor do you generally in most cases,
so true.
Until it gets done. But so there's way more than just a physical. So I think the rebounding or the post-comp blowout or wherever people coin it as, it's way more than just food. Way more. It's way more than just food. It's all those habits that have been almost locked away in a little container, and then all the people around you, the influencers who are, that they're ready to get it back going and get some normality back and all that sort of stuff. Because what you've done actually has affected their lives as well. And then may not necessarily be up for just keeping that up. So I think having a really broad understanding of how what you're going to do is how what you're going to do is going to affect people, whether they're for or against that, that's going to count as well. And then how are you at the moment, at the start, compared to how you need to be? Because if you have to make immense changes, there's going to be immense reversing of that. If you have done 13 shows or
12,
15 shows,
come on, 12,
13 shows, the 13th show coming up, then a lot of those things have already changed, and there's not a big rebound anymore. If you imagine it as sort of
more like a lifestyle,
a rubber band being stretched out. Well, you're doing 13 shows, and you've got more competitions on the horizon and things like that. It's become your lifestyle. You're becoming a competitor within that lifestyle. And this is taking somebody who started off going to the gym to lose weight, and Linda's had competitiveness in her background. Like she was a skater when she was young, competitive, quite successful. So it's not a total alien sort of thing for her, which is probably one of the reasons why she's been able to do so well. But you might be taking somebody who's just doing it as a pastime, a hobby, just starting to get interested in it, and because of the influences around, especially these days, everybody's being encouraged into modelling and fitness modelling and natural bodybuilding and all that sort of stuff, because it is something that if you're in great shape, it's one of the things that you can do. It's not a team sport. It's not necessarily something that you need to be training for each week or anything like that. You can
it's like a low barrier of entry kind of.
Yeah, you can just sort of rock up, and if you're in good nick, you kind of can qualify to do that. So it's on the cards for a lot of people. It's quite there's not a lot of barriers to get over to get involved. But people just aren't. I suppose people aren't really thinking about, or not really have an understanding of how it's going to affect and change you.
Is your viewpoint on it, Linda, since you've started, different now in terms of like the weights training and like carbs and everything? Because I know that Dan puts a massive emphasis on carbohydrates and training, and that's from what I experienced with training with you, is that's what your knowledge on it is insane. How has things changed since you first started compared to now?
It's changed so much, hasn't it? I think particularly this year, I definitely had a little bit of that carb phobia. I was convinced that in order to be lean, I had to be on low carbohydrates, and Now I'm definitely the far opposite end of that, and now I get very cranky if I don't get my carbohydrates. So the diet has definitely changed, but I guess that would change regardless because your body composition changes along the track as well. So, but also I think training methods as well. I think for a period of time now, I was probably coasting a little bit in my training. Like, we worked hard and I lifted heavy-ish. But now, I want PBs. I hit a massive PB, 2 weeks out from comp, hit a 100 kilo squat, things that I thought were never on the cards for me.
54 kilos.
Yeah.
I mean, hitting PBs for 2 weeks.
51 kilos,
51
dude.
kilos, double body weight.
How dare you?
Sorry?
I was saying hitting a PB 2 weeks out from comp. I know when I did my comp, I was not hitting any PBs. So that goes to show the difference of 12 comps to 1.
Yeah.
Being
And that
able
was
to
a big
progress like that.
PB too. Starting that prep, I think my PB was 50 kilos, not even.
Yeah.
So, I
insane.
doubled my squat weight during a prep.
How do you feel now, 13, after 12 comps, sorry, 12 comps now compared to your first one? What do you think the biggest thing has changed in your mindset?
Wow, that's a really good question. I have a completely different mindset. So where to begin on the difference of mindset? I have a mindset now where I know I can achieve what I want to achieve. I know I can set a goal and I will achieve that goal. So that in itself has probably been one of the biggest wins out of training with you.
What's the biggest change you've seen in Linda?
Belief. Yeah. Self-belief.
Yeah, it makes a massive difference as well. Hey, when you believe something, you're so much more likely to achieve it.
Massive.
It's
and just the ability now to, or the willingness to want to believe or to take a risk, and to back yourself.
Yeah.
Nowhere near as guarded, way more confident.
Trust.
Way more
Trust
confident.
is a big one. That took a long time.
It takes time.
It does, yeah.
It takes time.
Did you find that when Dad was telling you to eat more carbohydrates and train more weights, you were resistant at first, or?
Oh, very much so.
Yeah. And then a ramification for a problem would always be have a low carb day or do extra cardio and and look, I mean that's just most people with any general knowledge around food, and diet and exercise, they're the go-tos.
The go-to,
Eat less, move more.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think once you start to understand metabolically how you can influence your metabolism correctly, then you start to sort of let those things fall away and you're more adventurous and you're not as anxious about food.
That trying to fix a bad day with a low carb day or more cardio though is so damaging to your mindset.
Yeah.
You put yourself further back than you actually do by going, oh well, that's done.
Shit
Let's
happens.
move on. Yeah, exactly. Whereas if you do that, you just keep going and I think you end up in a much better place at the end of the day than if you've tried to fix a fuck up.
Stuff up.
Yeah.
No,
I think it's the same even with not necessarily competing, but just fat loss in general.
Yeah.
Most,
100%.
I've worked with many fat loss clientele over the years and big amounts of weight being lost, and then also people who always have that 5 kilos to lose, and I find that sort of mindset, that fix-it mindset, just leads to this constant,
yo-yo, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like just this constant cycle that people are in, and they never actually can progress past that. Doesn't matter how long they train for, they just think, 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah.
2 steps forward, 1 step back, and they just never really get anywhere. Whereas if you're able to leave that behind, I think, and then be more confident in your body, because really what you're talking about is your body's ability to, basically process what we're eating and, convert it into muscle or not convert it into fat and whatever. So you're confident that you're not going to get fat eating food, and you're confident that you can have a mess up and it's all good, you can keep going. Anyone who trains the way Linda does or the way you do, you got to know that a little bit of food in the body is probably just going to be awesome for the body.
Yeah, if anything, you sometimes feel a little bit better. Hey,
Yeah,
you're almost, there's some veins I haven't seen before.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And you just have the confidence to know that, that if that continues,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to be seeing the veins for much longer, but it's just that doesn't really never really gets to that point because most people don't continue it regardless.
Yeah.
They don't keep going because everyone has their cut off or their pain barrier.
Yeah.
But it's the difference between doing that and then getting to the pain barrier and knowing that it's still propelling forward and it's still progressing no matter what, and it's not even a setback, it's just a little blip or a little blemish or it's a little bit of a...
And it means nothing at the end, doesn't it?
Yeah, it means nothing, absolutely nothing in the big scheme of things.
What's your biggest cheat that you've had prior to comp?
Prior to comp, oh God. I have definitely struggled with compliance issues previously. I couldn't tell you though because I never have a great cheat. Like I don't go, go smash a massive bowl of pasta or something like that. I eat stupid things like my kids' toast crusts or there's some tiny teddies left over there in that packet. I'm going to eat. I'm like, what a waste, you know? So it's never anything awesome for me. It's always just silly, wasted calories.
I love it. Well, what advice would you guys give to someone who's looking, especially for a female looking to go into the industry or like get really kind of sink their teeth into a competition?
Get a good coach.
Yep, yeah, definitely. That would be definitely, like, be guided by definitely find somebody who works with people that you want to achieve things similar to, definitely. Do your research.
Yeah.
Find out how that person interacts with people and if it's right for you. I think one of the things about, not one of the things, but one of the skills a good coach can have is, being able to tailor their approach, both physically, psychologically, to their clients, rather than get the client to transform themselves and change and become this robot or become something that they're actually not, even though they're probably willing to do that for a certain amount of time. That's never going to keep up. So it's about the coach either getting a good understanding of that person, their behavioural characteristics, their likes, dislikes, their history, their mindset around exercise and training, their mindset around bodies. Get a clear understanding of what it is they want to achieve, and then not necessarily the coach doesn't have to be somebody else, but they need to have a nice big open repertoire of behaviour or an understanding of behavioural characteristics so they can work with that client on their level rather than be staunch and just go
one size fits all
approach. If you can't conform, you can't do what I need you to do, you're out, which probably can make people some money. Because they're just going to get people who are going to come and be robotic. But then as soon as that person wants to go back to their life or is sick of just saying yes or no, like there's no longevity in that. Like I don't know about, they're the sort of trainers that just sit on their phones where their client's training, they're reading off their paper that they've written down and they're kind of just standing there in the space.
I think that's what I've noticed even from me following your social media and everything. I've noticed that a lot of the people that you train actually end up re-competing. Yeah. Which is awesome. Like I don't see that a lot with other coaches, is that it's like a one and done kind of mentality. Yeah. They do it and I hear about their bounce back period and that's it. I don't hear about them again. So it goes to show that like whatever you're doing, you're concentrating on those lifestyle and habitual changes. Yeah. Rather than just, hey, follow this program and we'll put you in a deficit or something.
Yeah. I think my most successful, I wouldn't say competitors because sounding like now all I do is coach competitors, but I think what I love, as I said, when we mentioned earlier, that's why I like competing in competitions earlier on, because I was so rewarded by being around the atmosphere and by actually doing the event, and I just felt like if that's something that I could help people experience, I'd love to be able to do that. But my most successful competitors, well, one of them's in this room, but have not come as competitors, or not. Linny did a show. She wasn't a competitor when we first met. She was barely got through a weight loss journey. Still on it. Still on a weight loss journey at that point. Like you were on it.
Then I thought it was now.
No, not now. Not now.
You smashed that.
But that she was just sort of. Yep. And still working with another trainer on who would help her, at that tail end of losing weight, and she'd not even got for a second been comfortable in her skin yet. So
definitely had no muscles.
Yeah. but then other clients who I've worked with for years, like 5, 6, 7, 8 years, down along the line, I've encouraged them to try it out and compete, and they've done well because, they haven't come for that thing.
Yeah.
They're not going to come and go. It's just one of the goals along the way. And I love to have, like Linda's got a whole list of goals that aren't competing. They sort of tie into building muscle and the competitiveness of it all, and strength goals and things like that. And I think that's just important to have a really broad range of goals. And then if I can encourage people to stretch themselves to compete, that's a bonus, because it's something that I love. I want to be around it. I want to be a part of it as a coach. I'd love to be known to have successful competitors down the track. I love it as a goal. Can't even remember what the question was now.
That's right.
What I think I see happen a lot is that people go to a coach to do a comp prep.
Yeah.
So they want to do a 12-week or a 24-week or whatever. They want to do a comp prep. Mm-hmm. They do their comp. They might stay for a short reverse period, but then they don't continue with their coach. Yeah. They'll go back to their coach when they're ready to do another prep, rather than staying. Like, I think I don't want to say for me, but I think maybe in general, the actual comp prep part of it is kind of just dieting, a lot of it, but the actual building happens previous to that. So having that time in between 9 months, 12 months, however long it is between shows, where you're working on building your metabolism, building your muscle, building all of those things, so that when you get to that 12-week comp prep,
it's almost the shortest part of the journey.
Yeah, it's the easy part, theoretically.
100%. And that's what I've even noticed, because I did one with Dan, and Dan was my coach. It's the same kind of principle. Like, that time off the comp is the time where I should have put the most effort in. And you realize that now. And you're like, and then when your body's in better condition, you can go, hey, well, 8 weeks, 9 weeks of cutting down to look ready on stage isn't so bad.
No, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
What would you say that has been your hardest part of the journey, do you think? Has it been social? Has it been, you're a mum, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got 2 children. So sometimes I think fitting everything in with kids and school pickups and drop-offs and kinder pickups and drop-offs and running my own business and all of that sort of thing. Time pressure can be an issue, but time is one of those things, we prioritise where we use it. So you can't really say you don't have time. You just have to use it better.
I've heard Dan say that before.
And socially now, socially it's been so long for me. I think people just, this is how I am. People,
they accept it, don't they?
Exactly.
And
nobody
if they respect
asks
your
me
goals,
why I'm eating out of Tupperware anymore. They just go, Linda will have her Tupperware. It's part of who I am.
It's a big barrier at the start for a lot of people.
Yeah,
definitely.
How do you approach as a coach your athletes that are competing with social occasions? Because I know that's one of the biggest things I get asked about is how to adapt to that.
Yeah. I do a lot of scenarios.
Yeah.
And just have conversations with the client or athlete about how they would see it play out if it was a really positive scenario. What would their worst case scenario be? Generally, if they can really get a handle on what their worst case scenario would be, I would then start to prepare them for that worst case scenario, because generally it's not going to be that.
Yeah.
And then that's pretty much how they build a resilience to it. Because then, for instance, it's a wedding. Wedding's the classic comp prep one.
Yeah.
Right? So you can't go to the wedding, or you've got to take your own food to the wedding. Because I don't know why people can't eat. They have to eat.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's going to a dinner or going out with friends or whatever, or the wedding or the special occasion where you're expected to sort of toe the line. Mm-hmm. So it's, we sort of do the scenario. Okay, what's the worst case scenario if you were to have your containers there and have your food? What's going to happen? So and so might say something, or so and so might look at it, or the restaurant, the waiter might kick me out of the restaurant, or whatever. Yeah, and just go through those scenarios, and then I think once you've spoken about the worst case scenario, then the challenge is like, okay, now you're going to go do that. Go do that.
The fear of the unknown is now gone.
That's it. And then go do that scenario. Then, they'll come back and they'll say, oh, the waiter was awesome. Helped me out, do this, heated up my food.
Yeah, even gave me some salt. Yeah.
And whatever. And then I think that just builds resilience. And then the next thing your client's just coming to say, oh, hey, on the weekend I went out, but I took my food. And because they are although like tiny things, the compound effect, when it's a small little win like that, then another small little win, then all of a sudden it's just picking up momentum, and then then they're way more forward in what they need to do. And because with a serious competition preparation, you have to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You have to do it. Like every meal does really count if you want to be.
If you want to win, right?
That's
Why
right.
would you give up 1%?
Yeah, that's it. So you have to sort of run through that, and then you're going to get people that aren't going to do it. That they're not going to give it their all, and they're not going to. They're every occasion, they're going to let themselves down sometimes in some of their prep. It's not going to be perfect, and I think you just need to be clear with the client or athlete that that's fine, but then you just can't expect to be at your best at the end. There's no wrong or right, really.
Yeah.
But
you have to make that call yourself as an
clear.
athlete too. Are you prepared to make that little sacrifice and know when you're standing on stage that you made it? And sometimes it might be yes. Yes, I'm prepared to have made that sacrifice.
Yeah.
And sometimes, the majority of the time, it's like, no, so I'm not going to do it. But you ask yourself that as an athlete, I think, and make that call, whether it's worth the sacrifice to not do it.
I think at your level you would be doing that. Yeah. I think some people just don't know. Like they don't really know that does matter. Or they don't truly understand how much it matters or how much each thing matters. Until you do one where you've just been like, every single thing's been right.
Yeah.
You have an amazing outcome, because you cannot not have an amazing outcome. Guarantee you that. Like if an athlete puts everything in and they cannot not have an amazing outcome. Guaranteed. Because
it's true, hey?
It's very rare. It's very rare for that to happen.
Yeah, well, especially if you're knowledgeable about what you are, which you are, like it's very hard for it to go wrong, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm saying if the athlete puts in, or the client, even for a weight loss plan or for a running plan or whatever goal there is, if they do everything that you're expecting them to do, they're going to have an awesome outcome. Whatever the goal is. Yeah. And I just think some people just don't truly grasp that. Yeah. And some people are just scared of that. They're scared to be at their best because what else is there?
Yeah, what if they fail at their best, right?
Sure.
There's that thing in the back of the mind.
That's been my biggest barrier for 3 years.
Yeah, it's a massive one. And I think as a coach, you can't instill belief in somebody. You can believe in them. Yeah. And like people say, I'm going to instill belief in this person. The person has to believe for themselves. So, and I think the best way, my technique, or my way to do that is to give them so many little wins along the way that the big wins are just organic. Like the littlest things need to be celebrated. Like all along the way, everything needs a little tick or a little, positive reinforcement, and just things that probably in the end Linda was like that's just my normal now, but I'm still congratulating her and stuff like that. Because all of that is building resilience, and that's essentially instilling belief in that person because they can't believe until they achieve. Yeah. Until they actually do what they don't think they can do, right into that last minute, right? You can't believe it. You can't believe it until you actually achieve it. Then when you achieve it, there's no stopping you. Yeah. You're never going to not believe that you can do it. Which is something like, I think Linda just said that, something like that before. Now I know that I can achieve goals and what I said to. So that sort of language is like, you could bottle that.
Once you have it, hey,
forget about it.
All of that learning was done during off season.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Important time.
Yeah, and I think even on that point, like off season and on season and sort of stuff, it's like stuff that we've stolen from the NFL. Yeah. Or, I think like when it comes to goals and stuff, it's just
one journey.
One big journey, one big succession plan, and you're sideways, you're up, you're down, you're under, you're over, and you need somebody who's going to tolerate that. Yeah. If you're working with them, a coach who's going to be empathetic of what your needs are, understand you, but then also be realistic with you and say, well, it has to be this, or this is what your outcome is going to potentially be. Yeah. If you want this outcome, this is how it is. And
how similar do you think competition is to just general fat loss? like, I mean, you speak heavily about lifestyle, so that would correlate massively with just general population of fat loss, right?
Yeah.
So it overlap. And how was like your fat loss journey, Linda, versus now competing?
So different. And I think you and I will probably have slightly different views on this too.
Sure.
So, but yeah, I think general population fat loss, or, you know, my weight loss journey was light years away from what I do as a competitor, and I would never expect a general population client of my own to do anything remotely like what I do in a comp prep. So.
Do you think that the habits that you've learned during the comp prep though is habits that like you'd want the general population to take on? Like
some of them I think are probably more on the extreme level, but having been you know, an athlete pretty much my entire life, that is part of my persona.
Yeah.
So for me, it's probably slightly different. So
yeah. What about Dan, coming into, like, you obviously work heavily with women. That's it. Like, that's your niche now. It's become.
Yeah.
What have you found is the biggest barrier? Because I know for us, when we train clientele, we find that a lot of women are resistant to resistance training, as well as, like I was saying before, carbohydrates. So how do you kind of overcome that as a coach to get people to kind of have that faith in you to follow the high weights training and the lifting heavy and the eating the carbs?
Yeah. That's a good question. I just listen to them at the start. So, you know, I get a true understanding of what they believe, you know, about weight training and about how they're going to get their results and things like that. And I think, you know, in my mind, I have like what would be perfect for them, you know, or, you know, the theoretic perfect sort of outcome. And then I try to picture where they are. And then I just want to see the steps, you know, that it will take to get them there, to get them to that way of thinking, or to get them to that belief. You know, like you know, a good analogy is, you know, women think they're going to get bulky and big. So talk about that. Yeah. You know, ask them, how do you get big? How do you get muscly? You know, how do you build muscle? What's big? You know, to you. How would you get big?
Yeah.
You know, and just see what they think, because usually it's just a misconception of some kind along the way. And then if you can sort of defunct that belief or defunct that misconception, you kind of, you know, you can move on to the next thing then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think each person's individual, you know, and regardless of the goal, I like to think that I spend time understanding the person, the person that's going to go on the journey. It's not necessarily the person. I don't need to know every single thing about them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be their life coach, but I want to understand the person that's going to go on the journey.
Yeah.
You know, who they need to become to do what they need to do. Yeah. So who are they? What are the behaviours, characteristics, lifestyle factors that are holding them back from getting where they are? If one of them is a belief that they're going to get too bulky, then that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah.
You know, if one of them believes that, you know, lifting weights is for men, then that needs to be dealt with. You know, the person here at this other end looks fantastic, doesn't believe that about themselves, and, you know, and I would maybe give that scenario, you know, about, let's have a look at you now. So you feel this way, you look this way, this is your lifestyle, these are your beliefs. And then in 3 years from now, what do you look like? Okay, you know, she's describing their look, and then what are your beliefs around training and things like that. And then organically they're sort of going to say, well, now I believe that weight training is good for me. And now I believe, so they're kind of just going to do it themselves. But if I challenge them straight away,
they'll rebel. Hey,
well, people just put up a block. Because people's natural reaction is to, you know, their natural defense is attack. So they'll be like, oh no, you don't know what I need. You know, you don't know what I need, which is an attack. Yeah. It's never worked for me before, which is like a defense. You know, and I think, it's maybe not just going to go, well, I'm the trainer and this is what works for females, or you never get bulky, or you never get big. They might get bloody big. Yeah,
there's all the some endomorphs
that
too.
would be awesome. That would be awesome. Yeah, so like that might happen. You know, they might be someone who's going to be quite muscular and things like that, which actually they need to accept and understand as well. Yeah. So it comes down to, again, just more the practical thing of do they actually know what they're talking about? You know,
Yeah.
like, do they understand what they're actually saying? And do you understand what they mean when they say big? Because when you say big,
Yeah.
when you say big, probably two totally different things.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know what I mean? It's probably the 8 kilos more than you think.
Probably not that.
No, probably not. Probably exactly the same. But yeah, so again, it's just like language, you know, like I think language is a funny barrier sometimes. You say the same word,
Yeah.
you know, and you're just thinking one thing because of your values, your beliefs, your past, your learning, and that other person's thinking something totally different. And then you're just like, okay, let's go. We both think the same thing. And,
Yeah.
you know, we're working towards it. And all of a sudden, down the track, there's a massive roadblock. You blame you, you know, I blame you blame me. Like, and then it doesn't ever really works.
Yeah.
Oh, that didn't work for me, or that way didn't work for me, or I just got big, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, went way off on the tangent then. But it is, again, probably,
That's
as I
good.
said, just understanding what the person understands. You know, getting up to speed on their understanding what they're actually working towards. Like,
Full open relationship.
yeah,
eh?
like what it is that they want. And all of those things about, they're just barriers. Like, they're just fears, or, you know, like, honestly, if, you know, no one's going to be truly scared about putting on some muscle, or,
No.
you know, we're not going to be worried about running faster, or, you know, like getting better, improving
Yeah.
your body and all that sort of stuff. And we know that, you know,
Yeah.
but it's, again, just dispelling those psychological fears or barriers.
It's almost getting people to unlearn, isn't it?
Big time. Big
That's,
time.
I always say the job of a personal trainer sometimes is to completely
Empty the cup.
empty it so then you can
Yeah.
refill it the right way.
Definitely. And you don't even need to fill it.
No.
Like, you can just empty it,
Yeah.
and then they can just put back what they need,
Yeah.
you know. And the things that they need will come from, they'll see it as they get results. They'll be like, okay, well, that's, you know, that fits me, and that helps me get what I need, and I'll take that.
Yeah.
You know, and then the next thing and the next thing. Because trainers are so eager to just give their expertise. And there's awesome trainers out there, heaps of them.
Yeah.
Heaps of them. I would say that most trainers probably generally care about, at some point, care about sharing their knowledge with clients. They want everyone to be passionate and
Yeah.
know everything. Most clients don't give a shit
Yeah.
about everything.
No, they don't.
They just want to get a good result.
Yeah.
They don't really care about most of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, majority. So,
You think trainers are too solution focused?
a lot are. Yeah, a lot are. A lot are coming in to fix it.
Yeah.
To fix it, where really there's nothing broken, nothing there need to be fixing. In most cases, the person just needs to be unraveled a little bit,
Yeah.
you know, and they've just built up all these barriers and walls in front of them, and all these beliefs and values about why they can't move forward anymore. So as soon as you can understand that, then you can start to, I suppose, just chip away at it, you know. The other thing is, you need to understand that person's probably seen 10 personal trainers already throughout their lives.
And then the thing is they all tell you different things, don't they?
Yeah.
So it's like, who do you know to trust? It's like, it makes it really hard. And I guess it comes back down to the client and yourself choosing what you want to believe. Hey, like,
Yeah, 100%.
and you only guess you can make that decision based off your experiences with it. And it's just trial and error, isn't it?
Yeah. Again, my clients will pick
What they want.
out of what you say, what suits them,
Yeah.
you know, and then they'll form, you know, like that's what we do. We form beliefs, and, you know, our hierarchy of values changes all the time. You know, so you might get somebody who starts with you and they're valuing lifestyle change. You know, and then you can help them instill some change and feel a bit better and get some more energy and lose a bit of weight, and you want them to go here. Then all of a sudden their value of lifestyle change just drops a little bit because they're feeling way better.
Yeah.
And then their value of social interaction goes up. And all of a sudden you're like, what the hell are you doing? What's going on? You're partying each weekend, you know, blah, 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 blah. We said here,
Yeah.
you know, because you didn't really listen to them at the beginning. Whereas here they love it,
Yeah.
you know, but then you make it so they can't love it.
Yeah.
You kind of kill them, or they've achieved what, you know, substantially achieved, or they've achieved something substantial enough to make them
Take the pedal off and
make them to obviously feel like they're in a much better place.
Yeah.
So again, like, trainers probably jump the gun on that, you know, as well, and just try to, you know, like a lot of trainers try to take their clients where the trainer wants to go.
Yeah. So true. And we tend to train our clients how we like to be trained as well. It's the same thing, isn't it?
That's it. we want, we have an image in our mind of what's healthy, or what's a bodybuilder, or what's a bikini model, or, what is somebody who, what does a healthy CEO need to look like, or a healthy marathon runner, whatever. We have our picture of that based on our learning. And then they've got in their mind, they don't know really what they're going to be, but they've got obviously all these sort of set points. Well, if I get this, I'm going to feel better. If I get this, I'm going to feel better. If I can run 5Ks, I'm going to feel better. And you're thinking, well, 5Ks is a start. They're like, that's kind of what they want. They're kind of achieving that. So then, I think trainers can sort of miss the point on that one a lot. Yeah. Because they're just, and that probably comes with a bit of time working with people as well. Losing clients over things like that over time and messing it up, and this comes from that.
From experience.
Yeah, and backing off a bit. Trainers need to back off a bit. I think for trainers listening, one thing you guys can do in yourself, trainers, can not give everything to clients. Yeah. Hold all your tools way back, and I like to say, get them to work for it, but wait until they call on it, or they need it.
When they're ready for it.
Yeah. Instead of just going, this is my toolkit, and I'm going to use everything on you. Yeah. Trainers are like, clients are
information overload.
Yeah, it's overwhelming, and they're taking nothing. Yeah. They're taking nothing. You're like a highly refined, coaching machine. Yeah. And that client can't absorb any of it. Yeah. Whereas if you're just like, okay, let's just work, and I've got all this amazing stuff, but you can't have any of it yet. And then when they really need it, you're like, well, I've got this. Like, okay, cool. That can get them to here, and that actually will give you years with the client as well, because you've got all your tools away.
You're constantly providing value.
Sure. Yeah. And if you can do that early on, you'll save yourself a lot of exhaustion, and you'll probably stay in the industry.
Yeah.
Longer than.
How long have you been in the industry? You're a personal trainer as well.
Only newly, actually. Only this year as well. So.
And is that because of the comps, you think, is push you into that?
No. I think obviously my lifestyle change and my mindset changes are a big, directional changer there. But I am definitely not working towards comp prepping people or anything along those lines. I'm working with a very different clientele to myself, so I keep the two very separate.
Sounds fair. What's next for you? Like, you're obviously planning on doing another competition, so what kind of keeps the ball rolling to want to do more and more?
I don't know.
My answer is Linda is now going to do the first international pro show.
Oh yeah, international pro show, not my first international show.
In November this year. Yeah. At the UFE,
and
which is an affiliate to the Australian A&B.
And what are you actually competing in, just for people so they know exactly? Is it fitness, bikinis?
Linda's a swimsuit pro.
Swimsuit pro, okay.
Yeah, which is bikini. It's bikini model in the A&B Federation. They call it swimsuit, but it's bikini pro.
Okay. Yeah. Amazing. And then after that, have you just one step at a time, or what do we think?
Well, I'd set all of these goals for 2019. So I had all of this bucket list. I wanted to get my pro card and do all these things, but
so far so good.
Tick, already done this year. So we'll probably reset some goals again for next year around competing on the pro circuit. So
by accepting
and obviously improving my physique to take it to a pro level versus an amateur level. Yeah. So.
By accepting the professional status, Linda almost immediately restricts herself to only competing with the A&B for next 12 months. And then within that, there's probably 2 or 3 opportunities, maybe 3 max, 1 or 2 opportunities that she can actually compete in shows, because there's not a lot of pro.
So it limits the shows she can do, but obviously they're higher quality.
But they'll be big shows, which is fantastic. That's good. And then after 12 months, then she can branch out and do other federations and things like that. But, again, it just comes down to what she wants to do as an athlete. And I think, she's pretty much now working towards the pinnacle of what she started out, where she started out. And, I love that. I don't think there is a need to then go and, as you said, start back at the bottom again. And
one of my core values, I guess, across all aspects of my life is continual improvement. It's just something that drives me. So if it's not this, it's something else. all aspects of my life, I tend to be focusing in that direction. So this is just a continuation of the comp plan, and I
love the process. Hey,
I love the process, and I love to see, you know, the changes, and wow, blown my mind this year, the changes that we managed to make, and I can't wait to see, you know, how I can exceed that in future. And it's not if, it's how.
Yeah,
love it.
You know.
Yeah, and see that took about 2 years for Linda to be able to commit to something like this.
Yeah.
So it's about 2 years of coaching. You know, and
Poor Dan, I had so many walls up for so many years, and then, I don't know, chipped away at them, and now I was like, holy crap, somebody put those walls back.
Yeah. I love it.
I'm not like that. No, I'm very open to what you're going to go and achieve.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, that's why you want to work with clients for a long time.
Yeah.
So you can do this.
And once they love the process, hey, like it's all over.
Yeah,
like as soon as they just stop focusing on the results, start focusing on the process, then it's just the game changer.
Key for Linda, key turnaround was getting away from fat loss, and going into a strength building muscle gain program.
And then fat loss comes with it. Anyway.
Cardio was just kicked out the door.
Yeah.
Training frequency went up. Carbohydrate ratios went up. The belief, you know, the fear of carbohydrates was beginning to become overcome, because she was then switching towards focusing on her strength, her ability to lift weights, and you know, it's like Linda's quite a small frame.
Tiny.
You know, she's not a very strong woman, so to get her strong takes time. It takes time. Like you're not a naturally not naturally heavy set. She's not heavy set.
Yeah.
So to get her under some heavy weights, it takes time. It takes skill on her behalf. It takes development and confidence.
And by focusing on lifting weights and improving strength, the carbohydrate fear kind of like gets minimized, hey, because you're focusing on
you become not even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because you almost go into food as fuel.
Yeah.
Because you're just trying to wait for that next workout and the next workout. And with strength training, for muscle gain, your frequency is higher, so it's not as long between, you know, parties and...
It's like what you said before about, you know, you accidentally have those too many carbs and you see the veins.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see veins, I'm in bikini, but, you know, I see my shoulders and you're like, ooh, look at that. Way better with some carbs. And
then you start to want carbs,
like, oh, I need some carbs, get some bigger shoulders going, and, you know.
Yeah.
I think carbs is the most frequent word for today. You guys said back and forth.
That's because we're hungry.
Yeah.
We should have eaten before this. Oh, awesome. It's good to like hear about your journey and yours as well, Dan. Where can people find you guys if they're wanting to get involved with you? Dan, you have Instagram and stuff.
I am about to launch my brand. It's days away. My brand is Coach Personal Training. Cool. And my website is coachpersonaltraining.com, and you'll be able to find everything.
Awesome.
Everything there, and
we'll attach a link for it as well.
Yeah,
so.
Awesome.
Linda, what about yourself? You've got any pages that people can follow to focus on your journey, or?
I've got my Insta at Linda Coleman, I think it is, something along those lines, and I post a lot of random rubbish, so you know.
Oh, nice, random rubbish. All right. Yeah, awesome. All right,
I'm trying to stop that.
What, random rubbish? Or?
Yeah, just but it is what it is. It's not a thrill.
A lot of bathroom selfies.
A lot of bathroom selfies. A lot of selfies.
That's right. People.
We're
in 2018.
Linda's first photo with her trophy,
Crown
pro card and sash was in the bathroom after she came off the stage in the mirror.
You didn't post one on
that
the
day.
That was the first one I posted.
Pro photo.
That's all right.
And it's still the best photo so far, so you know.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming on board.
Pleasure.
Thank you.